Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars might have finally made something that people like. Too bad absolutely no one's watching it. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. Skeleton Crew is the new Disney Star Wars show from Lucasfilm to debut on Disney+, and I have to admit that I don't hate it.
Weird.
Now, that's not to say that I love it. I'm certainly not looking forward to it all week like it's an episode of Better Call Saul or something. But when I have to watch it for work, I don't hate my life or wonder if Target is hiring. Is it a perfect show? God, no. Definitely not. There are lots of eye rolls and moments of downtime that get so boring I start checking my phone. But compared to something like The Acolyte or Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like watching Buffy Season 2 again. But as is entirely typical of Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm, they finally have a show that doesn't make people want to gouge their eyes out, and nobody's watching it. Yes, Skeleton Crew's first 3 episodes have been performing laughably, getting absolutely stomped into the dirt by shows from Netflix, Peacock, and Paramount Plus of all places.
Ha! Gay!
Yes, a new Star Wars show can't even lace the boots of several original Paramount Plus series. This is a truly epic failure for Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm, or as we like to call it here on this channel, the Galactic Vampire. Meow, 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 meow. But just how bad is the Vampire's latest TV failure? Well, let's talk about it today on Tooney Town TV. All right, here we have it. Star Wars Skeleton Crew viewership flops, unable to break into the streaming top 10 hits, or into the top 10 streaming hits. I wrote it and I'm reading it wrong. Yes, because it's written by me, M. Montanero, on That Park Place. So I say, while many viewers voice critical approval for the new Star Wars spin-off show Skeleton Crew on Disney+, the show's viewership didn't reflect those glowing reviews. It failed to crack Luminat's top 10 streaming originals for the week of November 29th to December the 5th. So now let's have, and what I said there is true. A lot of people have voiced critical approval of this. I've heard Chris Gore say nice things about it. Alan Ng. I've heard some of the Friday Night Tights crew say good things about it. Now over on the Pro Show, a lot of us had good things to say about the story, about the acting. Just it's not obnoxious. That's not to say it's, like I said in the beginning, that's not to say I think it's the best show I've ever seen, or even the best show this year, or even the best show in the last 3 months, because The Penguin was absolutely amazing, and this show is just kind of good. But the problem is, ain't nobody watching it, so let's take a look. Here's the streaming originals television charts for November 29th to December 5th, and let's take a look at the top 10. The Madness, Season 1 by Steven Bieber, and that is on Netflix, and it had 2.2 billion minutes watched. The Landman, not The Landman, just Landman, Season 1 by Christian Wallace and Taylor Sheridan. Now, Taylor Sheridan is the guy that created Yellowstone.
I don't care.
And he is kind of Mr. Paramount Plus right now, which is really, really interesting because, so many shows of his are on the top 10. That guy is hitting Greg Berlanti-like levels of doing a ton of shows. I don't know how much input he has to all of them. He could not possibly be working on all of them. Now, on Paramount Plus at 1.2 billion minutes watched. Cold Case, Who Killed John Benet Ramsey on Netflix with 774.2 million. Lioness by Taylor Sheridan for Paramount Plus for 750.6 million minutes. A Man on the Inside, Season 1 by Michael Schur. He's the guy behind The Office and Parks and Recreation on Netflix. And that's 673.9 million. Cross, Season 1 by Ben Watkins. That's on Prime Video, and that is 503.8 million minutes watched. Tulsa King, Season 2 by Taylor Sheridan. That's that Sylvester Stallone show. I really wanted to watch that. I didn't even realize that was a Taylor Sheridan show, so I'm going to have to get on that. That's on Paramount Plus for 470.9 million. Lioness, again, for this time, Season 1. Again, Taylor Sheridan, Paramount Plus, 358.8 million minutes watched. The Later Daters on Netflix for 354.3 million minutes watched. And The Day of the Jackal by Ronan Bennett on Peacock for 332.3 million. minutes watched, obviously. Now, interesting, Disney and Hulu Plus have no streaming originals in the top 10 for that week. Netflix, Paramount Plus, Prime Video, and Peacock claimed all 10 spots, leaving Disney notably absent. This outcome spells trouble for Disney and Lucasfilm. An exclusive report from the Valiant Renegade YouTube channel revealed that Disney Plus advertisers are abandoning the platform in large numbers. This exodus follows Disney's failure to meet minimum impression thresholds guaranteed in its advertising contracts. Now, Skeleton Crew premiered on Monday, December 2nd, with its first 2 episodes combining for a runtime of approximately 75 minutes. Now, remember that, guys, because that's important. Looking at the top 10 streaming shows for the week, it's striking that Paramount Plus secured 4 spots while a new Star Wars property failed to chart. Once considered the underdog of the streaming platforms, and it was, Paramount Plus was the bottom of the barrel. Paramount has been gaining traction and appears poised to compete at a high level. Comparing numbers from Tulsa King Season 2 further underscores Disney's challenges. The show's finale aired 2 weeks before the measurement period, yet still outperformed the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew. That's insane to me. 2 seasons of Lioness also outdid Skeleton Crew, occupying 2 positions in the top 10. And Peacock's Day of the Jackal ranked 10th, as we said, with 332 million minutes watched. Now, for Skeleton Crew to chart above it, the show, at a combined runtime of 75 minutes, would have required 4.426 million households watching, and it fell short of that mark. Think about that, guys. 4.5 million people didn't watch Star Wars. Not even 4.4 watched the new Star Wars show. Now, who even knows if we looked at the top 20, if it'd even be in that. But Disney has not issued an official statement on Skeleton Crew's performance, and normally it does. Normally it's like, oh, like this X amount of million people watched this, and this is so great, and blah, blah, blah. They're saying nothing about Skeleton Crew. They are super quiet about it because they know it's a flop. Not even their spinsters, the people that tried to convince you that taking away Disney's Magical Express, the bus that brought you from the Orlando airport to Walt Disney World for free, tried to convince you that taking that away was actually something that was being done for you. They can't spin this into a positive. So now you might think that the story's done there, over and done with, but not so much, because Star Wars Skeleton Crew flops again.
Well, how about that?
Fails to land on top 10 streaming viewership charts for the second week in a row. That's with 3 episodes, guys. So I said last week, this is again by me, last week when the new Star Wars show Skeleton Crew failed to chart Illuminate's top 10 streaming originals viewership report, some chalked it up as a fluke. After all, it was only available for 3 days, and the tracked week was the most common Disney Star Wars Defender excuse. But this week leaves no question in anyone's mind, save for the shilliest of Kathleen Kennedy shills, who somehow managed to spin anything as a positive. Skeleton Crew is thus far a flop that has failed to chart Illuminate's top 10 streaming originals for the second week in a row, this time with 3 episodes out. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here in the top 10. You've got Landman, again, Paramount Plus, this time in the number 1 spot. Landman Season 1 by Christian Wallace and Taylor Sheridan and Paramount Plus for 1.8 billion minutes watched. Black Doves by Joe Barton on Netflix, Season 1 for 1.6 billion. The Madness on Netflix by Stephen Bieber, Season 1 for 1 billion minutes. And then we have Lioness Season 2 by Taylor Sheridan and Paramount Plus for 750.3. The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, Season 3 on Netflix at 524.9 million. Tulsa King, Season 2 by Taylor Sheridan on Paramount Plus for 337.8 mil. A Man on the Inside, Season 1 by Mike Sherv on Netflix, 314.2. Lioness, Season 1 by Taylor Sheridan, Paramount Plus, 301.8 million minutes watched. By the way, quick note about Michael Schur from Man on the Inside. If you ever watched The Office, he played Mose. He played Dwight's cousin Mose Schrute on The Office. That was kind of Greg Daniels' little joke that he loved to play, because Mike Schur hated playing Mose, and he would always make him play him, so it was great. The Later Daters, Season 1 on Netflix for 298.1 million minutes watched. The Day of the Jackal, Season 1 by Ronan Bennett on Peacock for 288.9 million minutes watched. Now, once again, Paramount Plus and Netflix have dominated the top 10, with Peacock filling in the last spot with Day of the Jackal. Topping the charts is, we talked about all this. The Day of the Jackal, however, tells an interesting story that paints a much more dire picture for Disney and Lucasfilm. The show sat at the bottom of the list with 288.9 million minutes watched. It also filled in this position the previous week at 332.3 million minutes watched. That's a 13% decline from week to week. But Skeleton Crew still hasn't managed to break into the top 10, even with that show dropping by 13%. And with around 121 minutes of runtime over 3 episodes, the Star Wars show would need just north of 2.38 million households watching to meet or beat that number and crack into the top 10. Just 2.4 million households discovering the show late and watching all 3 episodes would have put it ahead, and yet it didn't. Now, guys, the benchmark just with the addition of that 3rd episode, the benchmark became oh so much lower. We went from needing 4.4 million homes to now just 2.4. So we dropped that by 2 million people, and still it could not crack into the top 10. Do you have any idea how sad and sorry that is for something that has Star Wars in the title? The show received high praise from many critical voices for its new and interesting story. However, it might be too little too late for Disney Star Wars after failures like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, the Acolyte, Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy, and a special brand of Star Wars may have run out of goodwill with no benefit of the doubt left for audiences to give. My goodness, guys. And that's the thing, right? Have they completely squandered any amount of goodwill the fans had left, any amount of nostalgia the fans still held on to, any fans that still will just watch anything that has the Star Wars name in front of it because they're chasing something that they just can't catch from their youth again? Has Kathleen Kennedy lost those people? Because if she has, if the vile femperor herself of the Galactic Fempire has completely and utterly eroded the goodwill of the people and gotten to the point where nobody cares enough about anything Star Wars to check anything out or give anything a chance, when a brand new show can't draw 2.3 million people, to its premiere, its first 2 weeks, its first full week in production, then man, oh man, guys, Star Wars might be in a hole that it can never dig itself out of. But I'm not going to say they could get rid of it because I don't know what she's got or I don't know what she's got on people in Hollywood, but for some reason they allow her to continue to keep doing what she does. And the woman is old. Like, she's in her 70s. Why does she keep doing this? Why does she wake up every morning knowing that she could never work again another day in her life and retire from this mortal coil, a very wealthy woman when that day comes far into the future? Okay, but she chooses to get up out of bed, put on clothes, take a shower, not in that order, go to work, and ruin Star Wars further. My goodness, that takes dedication to your craft. What do you guys think? Are you watching the Skeleton Crew? Are you liking it? Like I said, I don't hate the show. I actually think it's pretty good. It's just that nobody's watching it, and I think your responses here are going to be very telling, because it's going to show me whether or not people are actually watching this show. And guys, am I way off the mark? Like, do you think that this doesn't matter? Like, are you one of those people that thinks ratings don't matter? Because I'm sorry to burst your bubble there. Ratings matter, especially my whole thing with ratings is, yes, ratings don't matter to your enjoyment of a show. But if you enjoy a show, you should want it to be getting good ratings, because then that means you'll get more of that show. If it doesn't get good ratings, you're going to lose that show. That's how Firefly went away. So, ratings are important, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. So what do you guys think? Are you watching Skeleton Crew? Are you enjoying Skeleton Crew? Do you think Skeleton Crew might have a resurgence with good word of mouth? Sound off in the comments section below and let me know. So there you have it. The ultimate comma for a studio utterly devoid of anything resembling creativity, not to mention respect for the fans, the creator, and the history of its IP. The Fempire is getting what it deserves right now, because when you stop to think about what it's done, and I mean really stop and think about this, they took the single greatest, most evergreen and beloved IP on the face of the planet and wore it down to the point where it's getting kicked in the mud by the Yellowstone guy. And that's nothing against Yellowstone. I like Yellowstone. It's an awesome show that I'll one day go back and finish. But it's not Star Wars. And I feel like those two words have been devalued over the last decade. Star Wars. Two words so simple on their own, but when put together once upon a time, they evoked emotions and passions and a deep-rooted love for a timeless story. But the Fempire changed all of that. The Fempire came along and got its withered, manicured fingers on this property and decided that it wasn't content to simply build off what already existed. No, it felt the world had quite enough of that. It was a brand for boys. Dirty, stinky, problematic, infuriating boys. And it had to be remade. Never mind the fact that Disney paid billions for this studio and IP specifically because it needed more brands that appealed to those boys. No, that didn't matter. Much like when Emperor Palpatine took over the Old Republic, what ultimately mattered was the new regime making the galaxy over into the image of its new ruler. And that's exactly what we're seeing now and have been seeing since Disney bought this property. But you know what that makes us? The dissenters, the supposed trolls who speak their mind about the Fempire and what it's doing to Star Wars. It makes us the Rebel Alliance. It makes us the scrappy band of misfits who stood up against a wealthy, powerful organization and said with no hesitation that we resist. So throw all the marginally satisfactory shows you wanted us, KK, because at the end of the day, we're not watching, and there's nothing you can do with all your money and unmatched Hollywood political power to change that. And we're gonna starve out your version of Star Wars, never feeding it again with our time, attention, or money, and we're gonna continue to do that until the money dries up to the point where you're booted out of that cushy office and bounce on your withered, bony old lady butt on the way out. Because you took something beautiful and reshaped it into the ugliest, most horrible thing imaginable. A reflection of you. Oh, and Merry Christmas, Kathy! Well, that does it for another video. Thanks to our Tooney Town TV channel members who keep this channel afloat with their generous monthly contributions. You guys are the glue that keeps all this together, and because we appreciate you, we provide you with exclusive content like Crime and Punishment, our true crime podcast, and our members-only live stream Mondays at 3 p.m. EST. You also get early access to videos like this one, so if you're not a member of the Tooney Town TV channel, then join today. And please, everyone, check out Tooney Talk TV, a live stream pop culture podcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. EST. It's a live stream pop culture podcast where you can make your voice heard as a part of the Tooney Town community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!